Thank you so much. Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you. You're a refreshing voice, and I sense that you have an intellect that dwarfs mine, and it's exciting for me to talk to people from whom I can learn so much. Um,
Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. We're grateful and glad to have you here. Thanks for getting up so early here in the morning. Hope you're feeling good today. It's a beautiful day here in America, and we're broadcasting here from Jefferson City, Missouri, the heart of Missouri, the heart of the United States. Do us a favor, will you, and click that like button and subscribe to the channel. Help us to grow. We want to spread the message of economic freedom and personal liberty. So if you love those ideas, I think you'd love to come back and join us every Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. The Wake Up America show streams live. We'd be grateful to have you as a regular guest. All right, well, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Kirk Cameron. He's a well-known actor, author, and speaker. He's best known for his role as Mike Seaver on the popular 80s show Growing Pains. Watched that a lot growing up. Cameron has also written several books, including Unstoppable, True Valor, and Pride Comes Before the Fall. His books cover topics such as faith, values, and personal growth. He's going to be talking about that, as well as some many other topics today. All right, let's welcome him here to the show. Good morning, Kirk.
Hey, man, great to be talking with you this morning. Good to start the day off talking about freedom and the things that lead to it, and what a precious and rare thing it is in the world. So thanks for all that you do.
Absolutely. We love that American flag behind you there, Kirk. We certainly love America and liberty here on this show. So thanks for coming bright and early and joining us here. I guess if you wouldn't mind, Kirk, I guess just start off and tell us a little bit about I guess we could call it your crusade, right? You've been out there, you've been getting a lot of attention in the media. Some people say it's controversial. Some people have been trying to ban you from reading your books to kids at libraries. I mean, you've really been causing quite a stir. Why? What's so controversial about Kirk Cameron?
Oh yeah, I mean, watch out for me because I'm really dangerous. I'm going to show up at your public library and talk to your kids about faith, hope, love, joy, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. So if you want to go with the real mild and meek stuff like drag queens and men grooming children, you're going to have to find that from somebody else, because I'm the dangerous kind who actually wants to talk to our children about the faith and the morality that our founders told us would lead to blessing and protection for 1,000 generations. And of course, they got all those ideas from those who came before them, like the Pilgrims, who got it from those who came before them, like Moses. And this is really, I think, fertile ground right now, as I've gone to these public libraries across the country and been met with protests and nasty comments and all of this cancel stuff. I've also found that those who have been throwing rocks have been overwhelmed by God-fearing, America-loving, family-cherishing parents and grandparents who are coming out by the thousands in droves to support messages like this, because they recognize that something as rare and precious as liberty and prosperity and the blessing of heaven is appearing to leave our country and be replaced with tyranny and bondage. And they don't want that to happen. So I feel the rumblings of revival. It's an exciting time to be alive. It's an exciting time to be out there in the public square. So I don't plan to quit anytime soon.
Good for you, Kirk. I got to tell you, though, the whole drag queen story hour thing, I've lost friends over this, Kirk. I mean, I'll freely confess to you that, despite I consider myself to be a libertarian Republican, I don't have, I'm not religious, for example, right? I have probably very different social views than you do, but I believe very firmly that children should be protected from exploitation and abuse. And, I think that, the rights of children absolutely have to be protected from people, from forces of darkness. And I believe in the concept of good and evil. But here's what I don't understand, Kirk, and maybe you can help me understand it. Because I'll tell you, I mean, it was just last week that somebody told me they were never going to speak to me again because I was speaking out on this issue, right? Adults are adults, and that's one thing, and they should be free to do as they please, but kids are another matter. Why do you think that they want access to our kids so badly? What is it about children that the left wants to have men dressed up in lingerie and read to them, pornography essentially in public spaces? Why do they want to do this?
Well, I think the reason that I'll do my best to answer this really good question. I think the reason that it sounds outrageous to you for them to go after children is that I think you have a belief that there is some sort of protective wall between them and children, and that wall is probably parents. Like, if you want to talk to me as an adult, we can do that out there on the battlefield, but you don't go inside, my house into my children. But I think we have to question that belief, because in other countries, the children are essentially property of the state. They are the future of the country. That's why everyone wants to go after the children. They don't really care so much about you and me. In 40 years, we'll be old, ugly, and decrepit. What they want is the children, and they want to get them when they're young so that in 40 years, when we're gone, their ideology is the only community and reality they've ever known. So if they can get you to bring them to the public library, if they can get you to drop your kids off for 7 hours a day at a public school, and they can indoctrinate them, they have won. That's the smart game. That's the long game. So it makes perfect sense. And so then we'd have to question our presupposition. Why do we object to the government staking claim on our children? And in fact, you would say, well, I mean, what if I said to you, hey, man, if you want to be a libertarian, go ahead and do that. But when you raise your own children, don't start pushing that garbage on your kids. And you say, well, wait a minute, these are my kids. I'm actually trying to give them what I think is right and good. Well, it really comes down to a matter of authority. Who gets to speak and tell the stories to those little kids? And if we come back to parents, we got to go beyond just biology and tradition here. That's why I think all this stuff has to have a backstop. And our founders came back and said, look, at the end of the day, I'm quoting Noah Webster. Thank you for letting me speak, by the way. If this was Sean Hannity, I'd be done in 2.5 minutes. Noah Webster, who gave us Webster's dictionary, he was the founding father and father of American education. He said, every civil government is based on some philosophy of life or religion. And the education of that nation will propagate the religion of that nation. Now, it could be secular humanism, it could be Islam, it could be Christianity. He said, in America, that foundational philosophy or religion was Christianity. And it was sown into the hearts of Americans for hundreds of years through the home, through church. And he said, our liberties, our prosperity, and our growth was the result of a biblical way of life. And the future of our prosperity and success depends on continuing to teach our children the principles of Christianity. So that's why guys like Benjamin Franklin, who were perhaps maybe the most irreligious of the group, understood that, gentlemen, we need to pray. We need to nourish this root of Christianity in our nation so that guys like me, guys like you, atheists, people of all persuasions can live here without getting your head cut off or being burned on a stake or crucified for having a different point of view on religion. But Christianity in the water and in the air is a good thing because it produces liberty.
Yeah. I can't disagree with you there, Kirk. And as someone who is a student of history and who dearly loves the legacy of the founding fathers, I think I agree with a lot of what you have to say. And I don't place all three of the Abrahamic faiths on equal footing when I consider their political stances and how they feel towards people like myself, right? A non-believer, right? I know that I'm able to live and be free and to not practice religion in a country like this and to have my libertarian viewpoints and to have very radical views on things here in the United States, that if I lived in Gaza, I would be I would probably have been murdered already by now, but I definitely would be kidnapped and most likely be killed. What do you think that is? Why
Wow.
is it? Why is it, Kirk, do you think that Islam is unable to accept the kinds of Western values that we have, this kind of tolerance. I mean, is it something that's ingrained in Islam, that which is what I suspect, or do you have maybe a different
Well,
insight on this one that has led to this conflict that we see in the Middle East right now? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and unvarnished. And yes, we do like to let people speak
yeah.
here, so take it away.
Hey, thank you so much. Boy, it's a pleasure to talk to you. You're a refreshing voice, and I sense that you have an intellect that dwarfs mine, and it's exciting for me to talk to people from whom I can learn so much. Um, I'm not an expert on Islam. You know, I'm no imam. That'd be cool to have one of those come on your program. But I do see that if you're going to be loyal and have fidelity toward the Islamic faith, you're going to major on the old covenant found in the Old Testament of the Bible. And there is, you know, lots about the infidel. There's lots about no sin in the camp. There's lots about lots of rules by which you demonstrate your righteousness before God. And in New Testament Christianity, all of that changed with Jesus. Jesus essentially said, guys, we're not going to circle the wagons and just be focused on internal purity. In terms of the city of Jerusalem and us as a people, we want that. But if I can transform your heart fundamentally on the inside, we can take the walls down that separate us from the infidel and the Gentile, and we can go out and spread light into the entire world. So rather than trying to keep the darkness out, we're going to take down the wall and spread the light, flood it into the darkness. And I'm actually going to be with you in your heart. And there's power in that that is outside yourself, and it's kind of a fundamental change from old covenant theology to new covenant theology. So that's where my mind goes with regard to not being able to comprehend or understand Western civilization and this concept of freedom. But I could also argue the other side and say that freedom really is a dangerous thing. And I think those from that ideology would say freedom is not good, because freedom allows you to become an infidel, to offend God, and to do bad things to people. Just look at America. Look at all their porn. Look at all of their divorce. Look at all of their child abuse. Look at all of the nasty economic abuses that the free markets can do. Better to have all of that controlled very tightly. And
You're
you know,
right,
our founders
Kirk.
were different
Freedom
about
is
that.
dangerous. You're right. Freedom is dangerous, but I
It
prefer
is.
it to the alternative. I feel like I could talk to you for hours, Kirk, and we'd have great conversations. But unfortunately, I promised you I'd keep you to 15 minutes. But I want to
Yeah,
give you an
that's right. And
opportunity.
we promised we'd talk about my new
I
children's
know
book.
exactly, which is why I want to give you the opportunity to share with us about your book series from Brave. We've really enjoyed these. My wife and I, who are family planning right now, we plan on getting them all for our kids and reading and sharing them with our children. We got a lot of parents who watch the show with kids, and I'm sure they'd love to hear about it. Can you tell us a little more?
Yeah, man, thank you. So, starting last Christmas, I was banned at over 50 woke libraries that previously held drag queen story hours because I wanted to read a book about love, joy, and peace. And that turned into a movement that culminated with a See You at the Library event where parents and communities are now holding their own story hours in over 300 churches in 46 different states, reading books of virtue and character. So this is Awaken the Balrogs at the American Library Association, which is directed by a self-avowed Marxist who wants to use libraries and schools as sites of socialist organization. And this has just put fuel in my tank, wind in my sails. So now I've got a third book. It's called The Fox, the Fair, and the Invention Scare. It's all about loving your enemies. So with the world on fire right now in Ukraine and Russia, with Palestine and Israel, you've got brothers fighting for thousands of years. And America, we've got the same thing. I want to teach kids a better strategy, and that is ultimately what Jesus said. You've heard it said, love your enemy, but love your neighbor, but hate your enemy. I say, love your enemy and do good to those who hate you, and you'll be like your Father in heaven, who sends the sun to shine on the good and the evil, and the rain to water the crops of the righteous and the unrighteous. Therefore, perfect love, and you'll be perfect like God in heaven is perfect love. So I think that's a message that we can get out to our kids. If people are interested, I hope they'll go to bravebooks.com, sign up for the Book of the Month Club, and you can get my book for free, along with a new book every month delivered to your door with a pro-God, pro-America value. I think it's an investment in our future as a country, and certainly an investment in the flourishing of your children.
That was an excellent Lord of the Rings reference there earlier. You shall not pass. The Balrogs.
You
there.
shall not pass. Hey, can I give you my favorite Gandalf the Grey quote?
Sure.
All right, we got time for this.
Yeah.
Other evils there are that shall come, for even Sauron himself is but an emissary or servant. Yet it is not our task to master all the tides of the world, but to do what is in us for the help of those years wherein we are set, uprooting the evil in the fields we know, that those who live after may have clean earth to till. What evil they shall have is not ours to rule. Thank you very much.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's Kirk Cameron. You can get his books at bravebooks.us. One of my childhood heroes there. First time having a conversation with him. Kirk, we hope you'll come back and join us again. Thanks for all the good you do in the world. We appreciate your time this morning.
Well, I appreciate you, bro. Thanks so much. God bless you.
Yeah, and you as well. Thank you and have a wonderful day. That's Kirk Cameron, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you check out his books then again at bravebooks.us. What do you